Hey everyone. Yeah, it's about 4:55. I'm gonna do this as quickly as I can because I don't know when my mom's gonna show back up. Uh, but as you can see here, I'm here to do my video review of. I'm gonna do my video review of course, Sonic 275. I got it in the mail today. I pretty much figured it was gonna be this week because last month I emailed Archie Comics and I said I not got my issue yet, and somebody and one of the people in charge emailed me back and said it should be there around the week of the 22nd, whatever. Basically 4 weeks ago. So yeah, I ended up getting the issue today in the mail, exactly almost a month from last month. So yeah, in case you haven't watched Mega Beatman's review on it, or read anybody else's review on it, you do get some dialogue and everything here from the characters. I mean, we get a recap of what's been going on for the past 10 issues, and like I said, you kind of get a hold on. You kind of hold on here. Sorry about that. I think my dog was looking at something. But anyway, in case you haven't read anybody else's review on it, or even watched anybody else's review on it, you know, like I said, you do get some dialogue from the characters. Right off, like I said, you get a recap most of all of the past 10 issues up till now, and you kind of get a roll call. You get basically a roll call of all the characters from each world they represent. Like you get the Sonic world with the Freedom Fighters. You get Mega Man's world, X's world. You get the Sonic Comic world, or the Sonic Boom world, if you will, representatives. And then you turn the page, and then you get all the other Unified Army representatives from their world, like Breath of Fire 3, Street Fighter, Billy Hatcher, Beautiful Joe, and the list goes on. You get all the characters there, but you also get, like on the first page as well, underneath the cast of characters from the Sonic and Mega Man worlds, you also get a role, kind of like a walkthrough of this, kind of get a bit of a walkthrough of the phases of the evolution of Sigma, and now we're at Sigma 3.0. And mostly what this issue is exactly what a lot of people have said it is. It's mostly all fighting. It's basically taking the concept of actions speak louder than words and putting emphasis on it. Because basically that's what this issue is. What the main story in this issue is. It's nothing more than action taking the place of words. Basically the action is speaking louder than words. Now, like I said, you do get some dialogue here and there. You do get Sonic, and I do apologize if I'm stuttering a little bit. I've worked today. I'm kind of tired. But like I said, you do kind of you get Sonic right off the bat being, Sonic, kind of telling Sigma, hey, you messed with the wrong world. You messed with the wrong people. Now we're just gonna have to go and kick your butt. Now we've got, you're not just messing with us. Now you're messing with everybody's worlds and everybody involved and everything that lives in those worlds. So guess what? Now we're going to just come together. We're just going to kick your butt, and it's going to be the end of it. It'll be like, basically Sonic's like, yeah, now that we're all together, we're just going to kick your butt, and poof, it'll be over just like that. Just being Sonic. And of course, Mega Man has to remind him, It doesn't look like, and of course Mega Man has to tell him, hey, it doesn't look like he's paying attention. Then they get Vice or whatever his name is from what is it, Breath of Fire or something like that, to Skies of Arcadia, I believe, to shoot a beam a beam off their ship into Sigma's eyes, and basically that's how the battle begins. You get a two-page splash. You get a two-page splash page of I'm trying to see what my dog's looking at here. But anyway, you get a two-page splash page after that of the battle beginning. And like I said, most of it is dialogue. You do get some character interactions, like when Ryu is fighting and everything and looks like he's going to get attacked from behind. And this is Ryu from Street Fighter. Bison, not Bison, but Bearlog comes in and basically saves Ryu's butt. Ryu kind of a little upset at seeing Bison there, as well as Chun-Li. Chun-Li's not happy to see him, of course, because of their history. And Bison has to say, look, he basically has to, in a sense, has to calm Ryu down and say, look, I'm not here to fight you. I'm not here to attack you, because for now we have a common enemy. Basically, he just lets Ryu know that because they have a common enemy right now in Sigma, and that the fact that he's threatening both worlds, the fact that he's threatening the same world that they live together on, the Street Fighter world, that Shadaloo is now going to work alongside him just for the time being, basically having a truce, an uneasy truce between the both sides. So that's some of the dialogue you get. You do get some interaction with the doctors and Xander, and the doctors kind of like, basically wondering. Well, first of all, you have Wily wondering why they didn't just have Metal Sonic deliver the seventh emerald to them, and Eggman is like, and basically Eggman has to say it kind of helps in their plan that even though that had been great, that they're on the verge of having something even more powerful, or something more of a greater power in their possession. So anyway, basically we have that interaction with the doctors all giddy and everything about what they're going to do when they take control, or when their plan is to take control succeeds, or so we think it. So basically the story wants us to think that. And Xander basically says yes. And Xander basically in his mind says, even if it means you two have to sacrifice yourselves for my destiny to be complete, I'll like it even just as much. Because he does let the doctors know that let the doctors know that his destiny is showing him that he's got to work with these two, even though, and he doesn't say this verbally, he thinks this in his mind, or says this in his mind, that even though they may have to be sacrificed for that destiny to be accomplished, he wouldn't have it any other way. Or he'll just like it just as much, if not better. So basically, like I said, we have that going on, and like I said, while the battle's going on, we have that, and then we go back to the battle, and again, it's just more of the action speaks louder than words deal, and you see everybody fighting every single Sigma bot that there is, or Sigma Maverick there is. And what's funny about this is you also see rivals working side by side. You see Sonic working side by side with Metal to trash some Mavericks. You see Mega Man and I think it's Breakman working side by side to destroy some Mavericks. So basically they're just beating the living holy you-know-what out of all these Sigma Mavericks, them. And you also see, like I said, other characters working side by side because they have similar powers. You have Quake Woman along with the guy from Golden Axe, the older guy from Golden Axe. Uh, you have you have Styx working side by side with the character, I think, from Breath of Fire 3. You have all this happening, and the characters think. Hold on for a sec. Like I said, the characters think that because as we get towards the end of the first story here, Sigma's second body ends up falling apart. And because of this, everybody's thinking, yay, we won, we did it. But of course, Styx, being the conspiracist she is, as we know from Sonic Boom, she basically has to point out, guys, this is all nice and all, but Sigma had all these other Mavericks. Isn't he getting power somewhere else as well? And just as she says that, Sigma ends up going into Sigma 3 mode, and she's like, haha, see, called it. And she's like, see, called it. You know, basically pointing out that she, basically she pointing out that, just because it looked like Sigma's done, looks can be deceiving, and they were, because Sigma was just biding his time and evolving into Sigma 3, which is basically like his first, like Sigma 1, but with a different colored suit, and more powerful, because basically after he evolves into this Sigma 3 character, he just starts smacking everybody around like they're nothing. Like, you have a couple of characters, I think, what is it, from Skies of Arcadia, they try to go attack him, and he's just like, whee, and they go out the other way. I mean, that's basically what it's like. And then he takes some of the dragon-like characters. It's like, one character is like, oh, adorable. He just tosses it like it's nothing. And like I said, that's most of the time what he's doing. And there's some panels that show that, where he's just walking around. Characters are trying to attack him. He's like, poof, poof. He's just beating them up, just slapping them around. But of course, this does try to buy time for Sonic and Mega Man to finally get to the Chaos Emeralds that are being guarded by Cream, Roll, and several others. They're able to get to the Chaos Emeralds just as get to the Chaos Emeralds. Sonic, of course, has to remind Mega Man of what how they did it last time, because Mega Man can't remember. So, again, they use the Chaos Emeralds to do what they did before. But this also allows Sigma to finally get up to them just as they're doing it. And he has, X in his hands like this and Sally like this. Of course, if you read the previews for 52, they're not dead or anything. It's just that that's sort of like the cliffhanger they want to leave you on just so you can read the next issue. But he's just, you have Sigma. He's holding both Sally and X, and he's like, basically saying, you think you honestly could beat me with your limited power? And of course you have Sonic chime in and said, actually, yeah. And even if we can't, we have the super states now. Booyah! And that's basically how the issue ends, or the first story for the 275th issue ends. It ends with the super forms of Sonic and Mega Man getting ready to battle Sigma. Now, if you've read the preview pages of Mega Man 52, you'll see that even the super forms don't seem to be enough. But we'll get into that once I read that issue. Yeah. But like I said, we'll get into that once I read that issue. But the point is, basically, it seems that, basically, I think we all know, even if you don't read the previews for it, for upcoming issues, I think by just looking at Sigma, the way he was just batting everybody around like it's nothing, that even in the super forms, they're going to have a hard time beating this guy. So, overall, I thought it was all right. I could see the complaint by some people that there wasn't much dialogue. I could see that, and honestly, I don't blame them for that, because usually when you read a comic book, you read it for the dialogue. But this is one of those instances where a comic book, and this is something, and this is not new to any comic books out there. DC has done this, Marvel has done this, Image has done this, IDW has done this, Dreamwave, Top Cow, you name them, they have done this. They have done comic books, whether the multi-issue crossovers or multi-issue epic events or whatever. They have done issues where it's mostly the action speaking louder than the words. It's basically the action speaking louder than anything in the comic. And that's basically what this is. Yes, you have some dialogue. There's no doubt about it. But you basically have action speaking louder than words. And that's about it. That's about it. It's basically the action speaks louder than words issue. It's basically one of those. Like I said, we've seen it with DC, we've seen it with Marvel, we've seen it with IDW, Image, Dreamwave, you name it. They have all done this. And depending on how it's depicted, it's either been received positively or negatively. And for this issue, just to lead up to the finale, I think it did all right. I mean, again, I could see where some people are coming from when they say, you know, this was nothing more than a dialogueless issue. Like, you know, where's the dialogue? What's the point of having this comic if it's not going to have dialogue? And again, I could see the point. But again, it's one of those issues that because of the significance of the event, of the story, and the significance of the second to last issue in the crossover, that sometimes actions will speak louder than words. So overall, I thought it was okay. The backup story, I've heard the backup story basically being a reprint of a free Sonic comic book issue, a free comic book day of the Sonic comic, basically the silver portion of it, where we learn about the Genesis portals and stuff. Everybody's talked about that already, and it's nice to have that origin story there, but it really is kind of pointless, seeing as though you're going to get pretty much a prelude to a prelude next month with the Silver Age story arc in Sonic Universe. So overall, I thought this issue was good, and on one final note, I will say this. To see a comic like Sonic the Hedgehog, a video game-based comic, not only go into the Guinness Book of World Records as the longest-running comic book based on a video game franchise, period, but to see it last for 275 issues, when a lot of people pretty much predicted for the past few years, oh, this is going to be it, this is going to be it, that's going to be it, and it never was. I mean, you got to think about it this way. Whether it's true or not, when Endgame was planned to be the final story, according to reports, the final story and everything, ending in issue 50 for the Sonic the Hedgehog comic book, even if that is true or not, I don't think anybody would have thought, even Ken Penders himself would have thought, that the comic would last 225 issues more. But it has. And for me, I have read the comic for those 275 issues, or at least I have tried. You know, I've read the comic even during the early stages of it. I have one issue I still have in decent condition. I've had to reacquire some issues because the originals that I would have would get damaged. Like issue 6, I think, that had the Christmas Carol adaptation. I folded up and put it in the back of my pocket one time, and it got of my jeans, and my jeans got washed, and pretty much the comic got obliterated. So